Welcome to Echo of Crime YouTube channel. The year was 2006, and inside Green Haven Correctional Facility, Derrick Hamilton was known for two things: his calm voice and his relentless curiosity. Convicted of murder years earlier, Hamilton had already spent more than a decade fighting for his own freedom. But while other inmates passed their time playing cards or working kitchen shifts, Derrick spent his days inside the prison law library, surrounded by dusty case files, legal books, and a single flickering fluorescent light. One evening, while reviewing appeals paperwork, Derrick overheard another inmate, Miguel Rivera, talking about his brother, Miguel, who was serving a life sentence for the murder of a man named Nathan Blenner. Luis insisted that Miguel was innocent, that the evidence never made sense, and that even the timeline didn't match. Derrick listened carefully, taking mental notes. He had seen too many cases where the truth was buried under sloppy police work or pressure for a quick conviction. Something about the story gnawed at him. That night, back in his cell, he couldn't sleep. The case had too many red flags: a missing witness, no murder weapon, and a confession signed under duress. Within weeks, Derrick began digging deeper. He requested access to court transcripts through the prison's legal assistance system, and even wrote letters to the public defender's office, pretending to be a paralegal intern. By the time other inmates realized what he was doing, Derrick's bunk was buried in paperwork: photocopies, handwritten notes, old newspaper clippings, and pages marked with yellow highlights. They thought they locked away a criminal, the narrator says. But what they really did was create a detective. Inside one folder, Derrick found a police statement that didn't match the official report. It was the kind of mistake no one outside the system should have ever seen. But for Derrick, it was the first clue, the first small crack in a wall of lies. Derrick Hamilton had become obsessed. Every day he pored through legal documents during his limited library time, comparing witness statements line by line. His focus wasn't on his own appeal anymore. It was on Miguel Rivera's murder conviction. The details didn't add up. The police timeline shifted between reports. A key witness's name appeared misspelled in one version, and forensic results were inconclusive at best. Derrick began writing letters. Dozens of them. He sent them to journalists, legal aid groups, and innocence organizations, anyone who might listen. Most never replied. But one letter, sent to an investigative reporter named Rachel Monroe, changed everything. Rachel had written about wrongful convictions before, and Derrick's tone caught her attention. His handwriting was careful, his arguments sharp, his facts detailed. He didn't sound like an inmate making excuses. He sounded like a man building a case. Rachel decided to visit him at Green Haven. Her first visit was surreal: a maximum security prison meeting room, thick glass between them, a phone to speak through. Derrick slid a folder against the glass. Hand-drawn charts of evidence trails, time-stamped inconsistencies, and a photo of a missing witness named Cynthia Hall, who had vanished shortly after the trial. Rachel promised to look into it, skeptical but intrigued. Weeks later, she called back with news that froze Derrick in place. Cynthia Hall was alive, living in a small town in Pennsylvania. And more than that, she claimed she had been pressured by police detectives to sign a statement she never read. "They told me if I didn't sign, I'd lose my kids," she said during Rachel's recorded call. Derrick's hands shook as he read the transcript. From that moment, his small prison project became a real investigation. He spent hours drafting affidavits, teaching other inmates how to file FOIA requests, and gathering any trace of proof that could force the case open again. But news travels fast inside a prison. Some guards didn't like what Derrick was doing. They started monitoring his mail, delaying his library time, even losing his paperwork. One night, his cell was searched, and his folders were scattered across the floor, pages torn, notes missing. It was clear. The truth wasn't just dangerous outside those walls, it was dangerous inside them too. Still, Derrick didn't stop. He rewrote everything from memory, line by line, page by page, until the file was whole again. The deeper he dug, the clearer it became. The police had framed Miguel Rivera to close a case quickly, and Derrick now held the map that could prove it. As the chapter ends, the camera zooms in on Derrick's hand pressing a single letter against the mail slot, addressed to the Brooklyn Conviction Review Unit. He whispers under his breath. For months, Derrick had waited for a response from the Brooklyn Conviction Review Unit CRU. Every day, he checked the mail window in his cell door. Then, one morning, an envelope slid through, marked official correspondence. Inside was a letter confirming that the CRU had decided to reopen Miguel Rivera's murder case, citing newly discovered witness testimony and possible investigative misconduct. Derrick's hands trembled as he read it. The system that once ignored him was now listening. He had done what even trained lawyers had failed to do from behind bars, with nothing but persistence and faith in facts. Rachel Monroe, the journalist who had become his voice outside, began publishing a 3-part expose titled "The Convict Who Solved Murder." Her articles detailed every inconsistency Derrick found, from missing police notes to mismatched ballistics evidence. Public outrage followed. News stations replayed footage of Miguel Rivera's trial, and old detectives were suddenly being questioned. Inside Green Haven, Derrick became a legend. Inmates whispered his name like he was part of a myth. But the attention came with danger. Guards grew colder toward him. Some accused him of causing trouble. His cell was searched again, his mail delayed. When the truth starts to shake a system, the first thing it does is shake the people who build it. Months later, Derrick was escorted to a small conference room for a live video hearing. On the other end sat lawyers from the CRU, journalists, and even Miguel Rivera's family. Rachel was there too. Derrick, still in his orange jumpsuit, spoke slowly and carefully, explaining how every clue connected, how every lie built a false conviction. When Cynthia Hall, the missing witness, appeared on screen, the silence was heavy. She confessed that she'd been pressured to testify falsely, and that the real killer was someone police never pursued, a local gang member later tied to multiple unsolved shootings. DNA evidence confirmed it. Miguel Rivera was officially exonerated after 19 years in prison. The courtroom erupted in emotion. Rachel covered her mouth, tears in her eyes. Miguel's family hugged one another. And inside Green Haven, Derrick Hamilton watched from a flickering screen in the recreation room. He didn't smile. He just whispered. One down. Thousands more to go. Months later, Derrick's own case was reviewed, and after 21 years behind bars, he too was released when prosecutors admitted his original conviction was based on false testimony. Standing outside the prison gates, dressed in a simple blue shirt, Derrick took his first deep breath of free air. The final scene fades in with him sitting at a small desk in his new apartment, piles of legal books still by his side. A caption appears on screen. Today, Derrick Hamilton works as an advocate for wrongful conviction reform and prison legal education.